Can William Nylander lead the Toronto Maple Leafs out of the basement of the Eastern Conference? That is our first topic of conversation here in the 5-minute edition of Power Plays, powered by FanDuel. Carlo, we know William Nylander, notorious for swagger, for confidence. Is it enough to get the Maple Leafs out of the cellar?
Well, it is enough because of the way people view it. I mean, this guy's Willie Styles. He's Mr. Swagger. I mean, this guy breeds highlight reel material, and he's got game-breaking abilities. But what people get really frustrated with is his defensive side of the game, and sometimes his efforts. Even his coach, Berube, has had some scuffles with him in regards to that side of the game. But it almost feels like when William Nylander wants to turn it on, he can be the best player on the ice and the best player in the game, and he's definitely showed that in many moments so far throughout this season. And without Austin Matthews, with all the injuries that the Maple Leafs are having, he's got to be that guy. And we saw a great example of that last night when he does do that.
And he joked about it post-game. He scored twice, one into the opponent's net and one into his own behind his goaltender.
They all count.
Joseph Wall. Well, one better than the other. Let's talk about John Tavares, who's had an unbelievable season so far for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The most ice time he's had in a game in more than 5 years last night. Can he hold up under that type of workload?
You know, here's a guy who averages 18 minutes a night over the last couple seasons playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he is Mr. Consistency. This guy is so dedicated to his fitness and his craft and his play that sometimes you forget of what he's capable of doing more of. And when you give him this opportunity, I mean, where would this Maple Leafs team be without John Tavares this year? So I think in certain situations he's capable of doing it, but it's not something that I would bank on being sustainable for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's one of those use in case of emergency situations. You're missing a bunch of centermen. You might need to run John Tavares a little bit harder than you would otherwise. Let's talk about injuries with regards to the Montreal Canadiens. They are in one right now. Do you think it is incumbent on the team's management maybe to mortgage some of the future to bring in help for the present?
I absolutely do. And let's look at where the Montreal Canadiens are. This is a team that made the postseason last year, going on an incredible run. I think they surpassed many's expectations about them getting there. So they go into an offseason and they make 2 major trades to improve this team. They bring in Bolduc from St. Louis, and they go out and make a blockbuster trade on draft night, and they bring in Noah Dobson on defense, you know, giving up 2 first-round picks to do so. But they do that. They did that to improve their roster. And they've gotten off to an incredible start this year because they have plug and played very nicely with certain pieces. And part of their success is that they've built depth. Well, now that depth is being challenged long-term. You've lost Newhook. You've lost Doc. You've lost Laine. You've lost Goulet on defense. They can't just sit there and allow this to play out because they've gotten off to too good of a start in the season that they should find ways to improve this team because they've got a ton of assets, including some really, really good blue-chip prospects.
Yeah, a lot of teams around the Eastern Conference are dealing with a ton of injuries. It will be interesting to see how each of them deals with it in a different way. Let's talk about Connor Bedard, perhaps the story in the National Hockey League. Coming off a hat trick, FanDuel has him at 17-1 to win the Hart Trophy right now. What do you make of those odds?
I think they're amazing. I mean, who would have thought Connor Bedard would be in the Hart Trophy conversation coming into the season? I don't think anybody expected much from Chicago, and it's because of the play and the rise of Connor Bedard, the former first overall pick, that's getting the attention that he's getting and the Chicago Blackhawks are getting. If you look at Connor Bedard, he should be top 3 right now in Hart Trophy nomination. Behind McKinnon, behind Celebrini, and you put Bedard's name next there because those are the 3 great stories. McKinnon's leading the way, but not too far behind him are Celebrini and Bedard for most points in the season. So you're getting great value at him, plus 1,700 on FanDuel. Get it now because if he keeps this up, those odds are only going to shorten.
Yeah, it does seem hard to imagine anybody could beat out McKinnon considering Colorado has 1 regulation loss so far this season, but no doubt Bedard's been an incredible story. So let's talk about the top scorers in the National Hockey League right now. McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini, Bedard, and Scheifele. I think you know what they all have in common. They are all Canadian. I think our country has to be feeling pretty good about that at the moment.
Absolutely, especially in an Olympic year where there is a lot of talk about who's going to be in that roster. And look, credit to Canada. They've always prided themselves on developing the best talent in the world, and it's on full display early on in the season. And there's a couple of guys, I would say 3 of those guys right now, that are pushing to make a spot on that roster because they weren't on the last Canadian team. McDavid and McKinnon are locks, but the season that Scheifele, Bedard, and Celebrini are having, I think all 5 of them should absolutely be on Team Canada, and look out if they do.
Oh, all on the power play. Let's go. Let's just see them all together. Come on, John Cooper.
Exactly.
You can make it happen. Wouldn't it be some kind of amazing story if all 5 finished in the top 5 in league scoring at the conclusion of the season? Coco, thank you for this. This has been Power Plays, powered by FanDuel.